the start that he wants there as the safe lane TA.
And you know, the panel talked about it, like SF and TA being played in the safe lane. Like a big reason that these heroes have switched to be a safe lane is because it's a dual lane meta, right? It's like you're able to just lane against almost anything if it's a dual lane if you're TA, but maybe that's just not true.
Isn't Thug just dead again? Oh, it's close. My goodness, Thug, yeah, playing on the edge of his seat there. And he can't afford to go down. Did just TP back to the lane. So has to step all the way back. Have they got a Sal for him up on this lane? I imagine they do.
Yeah, they've won an Omar,
yeah.
but that's the last one they have left.
It is, yeah. I mean, he's got to be careful level 1 with the meld. Not really too much that he can do to protect himself when Celery's able to get the setup with the Nature's Grasp. So Thug's got to be cautious at this level 1, and obviously with it being a tri-lane, it's going to be slow levels for the TA.
You know, I guess another part of what makes this a good tri-lane is that I don't think the SF as a safe laner needs as many levels as an SF who's mid, who needs to get the maxed out raise. Whereas like TA, you do want to get levels in your refraction. Like, yeah, this lane, I mean, definitely favors Tickles, especially with the first blood. It's so uncommon to see a tri-lane like this.
I mean, again, yeah, it's just so hard, it seems, for CoolGuys trying to trade back with Team Tickles. These three heroes are more than happily stand and right-click back at CoolGuys. See how things going on elsewhere. Bottom lane, S1v1, which is sort of what a clean trade between the two. You're not really going to see anything crazy between these heroes. Top lane, Tofu out of position a bit. CoolGuys are able to kill him off. So a strike back here from the Dire.
Yeah, the risk with doing an aggro tri-lane like this is if it ends up not going so well, what happens is you're going to have an SF, yeah, that's going to have to go against a Mars who's completely overleveled because he's been solo versus a Tide. And that's just not going to work. Like, that's a big reason why people don't aggro tri-lane, is because if you fail, the entire game is just like kind of over.
Sure, it's
a huge risk.
Yeah.
Fix Mike, I see.
Yeah. Well, Jenkins.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on today.
Things going mid. Very close. 16 for 2 on Noob, 14 for 0 on Boom. Also got to look out for those explosive moves. And we see the mid laners maybe look to join the tri lane. Same with the both of them down bottom. You've got to watch out for these sixes, Ace and Funnick, whether it be from the mid or the bottom lane. There's just a lot of very potent ultimates that could come into action and swing that top lane quite viciously one way or the other.
Another reason why aggro tri-lanes are very risky,
yeah,
because mid laners these days, like every single mid laner is a rotating mid. Every single mid laner wants to pick up a rune and like run at a side lane, and whenever there's an aggro tri-lane that's like basically at your tier 1, you're very comfortable going up there. It's like, oh, 3 kills? All right, that sounds great. Like, for a mid laner, the more heroes that are in a lane, a side lane, the better, especially if they're under level.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, the level difference is going to be pretty great. Here's us back in action. And we'll see. And Team Tickles, they did slip up on a few denies just now as well, so a bit more going the way of CoolGuys. And CoolGuys trying to do their best with the creep manipulation.
And because they don't get because they lose Avenge, they're not able to contest this pull from happening. We can see that Duracio's struggling to get these CS.
Yeah, he did actually miss quite a few earlier. So
I think he was the big creep. That's rough.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow start from Duracio. But as I said, we should be able to expect big things from him, as he did have a fantastic game on the SF the other day.
I tried to pull to those 2 creeps. Whenever you're in a tri-v-tri scenario like this, the little creep manipulation tricks that you can do, like pulling to those creeps there, if you get that off, it's like a really big deal. Like, everything's amplified.
Towards DNC, but Duracio not quite able to get enough hits in to threaten the dragon.
Hard to do any sort of dive play in an aggro tri now because of the tower aura that you get. +3 armor, you can see like how significant that was there. DNZ just feels totally unkillable, but if he's out of that tower range, this minus armor is actually effective.
Towards Omar. Omar's going to look to turn, and in fact it's Duracio that's in trouble. Thug and DNZ stay on top of him. He'll try his best to dodge around the tree line, but Thug will find him. 1 for 1. Thug He's more than fine. He's got the refraction up, and DNZ's still at full HP, so Celery's not going to stand too much chance trading into him. Celery's got to step back there as a meld hit comes in from Thug. It's a little, a bit of a rough start, I feel, from Drachi on the SF up top.
Yeah, it's not going well up here. This play, I mean, I'm struggling to see exactly what the point of this is all, because it seems like they're just putting an SF in a really dangerous position, but I guess Thug is as well.
I mean, again, they're going to try and go in onto Thug. Thug, this time around, he's got the fairy fire, so Dracho, both cores end up going now.
But Dracho has no TP, so like he just TP'd in, now he's dead.
Didn't he?
So that's really bad for Tickles.
So CoolGuys, they might actually get another one out of this. Look to Celery. Okay, he's got the lead seed here. There's actually going to be DNZ that will lose his life here. Fairy fire won't save him. Magic missile set up onto Omar. Thug is back in action. In fact, with a turnaround, they're going to be able to set up a kill for Thug. He's straight back to the lane and he picks up a kill. Nicely done there by Omar as he baits the two of Team Tickles in. And indeed, as you said, Dracho having to make that slow walk back to the top lane. Mid lane Noob will drop the Dream Coil. If he's able to do enough with this, he's got the silence, but as part from DNZ won't connect, and Noob, as low as he is, he'll have to back away. See Celery come over to mid to top, boom back up.
Small little bit of a miscommunication there from CoolGuys. I think it looked like Jakiro, like DNZ maybe made the call, like, oh, you know, I'm coming mid, we can kill him. And so Noob sees that like Boom is kind of low and chilling on the low ground, so he's like, I'm gonna go for the coil. But too far.
Can Thug get that last hit in? Oh, he's actually going to turn his attention over towards Dracho. As he knows Celery's coming over. Same to be said here for DNZ. Team Tickles, they'll turn their attention over towards the Dragon, but Dracho, he might pay with his life here. Dracho, he's going to go down again on this top lane. Sure that they get DNZ, but Dracho dying as well before DNZ even died, so he doesn't even get any XP out of that. This is going to be probably one of the slower starts we've seen from a position 1 SF.
Well, you see, because like, my thought process against SF is, from what we've seen, the way to beat it is by like punishing it in lane and just killing it over and over and over again. And when you see an aggro tri-lane, it's like you are really risking, you are literally out of position in an aggro tri-lane. Like, that's the point, is that you're just trying to overwhelm and be this like aggressive force. But it doesn't look like SF cares to be that. Like, if you just kill him, it seems bad. But once again, like, where are you gonna go now? You're gonna go to a Mars who's got 40 last hits at 6 minutes? Like, you can't go there either. He's just gonna ult and kill you.
Yeah, you're sort of stuck. And there's the DNC. The river he'll be found, so Team Tickles. Pick up some action here with Boom, stepping up with the okay. See if he looks to do anything over to the side lanes with that.
Middle tower could use some help.
Attention back over towards the top. Celery. Maybe see if he can get a lead in or set up for Dracho. Thug. He's trying to hide, but the Wave of Terror will find him. Celery. And we have that with the Nature's Grasp. They got the magic missile into the physical damage from Dracho. They'll take down Thug. The battles continue on this top lane.
Yeah, just crazy amount of fighting going on up here. I mean, you can see the strength of the level 2 Leech Seed on Treant Protector. It's like, you're just immortal if you're getting that Leech Seed heal.
I mean, just look at him go. Just chasing down this poor old hoodwink in the trees as Omar, he's out.
Look at you.
Let me see if they can do more. They're going to go for Thug as Boom has turned up. TP's coming in as well from CoolGuys. Drop the coil down onto Boom, and with DNZ's locked down on the ice path into the silence of Noob, they'll have the kill. Arena's out as well from Funny. CoolGuys, they turn up with their numbers. They will be able to shut down the aggression from Team Tickles there, as Team Tickles started to eye up some dives past that tier 1.
Great counter rotations. I think that's a really important place that you could otherwise lose the game if like Puck doesn't have resources, for example, or you know, it doesn't have a TP, or it's just like making a play elsewhere. Whenever there's like this aggro tri-lane that needs to be salvaged, you know that Ace or Boom are going to have to come up here and do that. And so if you don't have a TP ready to defend that, like you could just insta-lose the game. Or at least let SF get back into the game, which is not what you want. Like, you punished him already, like, keep him out of the game, you know?
We'll see Ace turning up to this top lane without Hood of Defiance. This is not really a hero that CoolGuys are going to be easily able to push out of this area. Ace knows it. He's taking a few tags, but he's got a lot of backup around with him. And of course, Ravage at the ready if he sees an opportunity. CoolGuys, they'll have to respect this from Team Tickles. They don't want to get anywhere near this.
This is just a top lane battle, this entire game. Like, none of the other lanes mattered.
It really has. Bottom lane boring, mid lane boring, top lane. It's where the action is. Wow. My goodness, with a dream call like that, it certainly is where the action is. They come out with a hit. Upon the Ravage, but this is not going to be a Ravage that they can do anything off the back of Team Tickles. They've got to run. As Ace, caught by the trap of Thug, DNZ lays down the ice path onto Tofu. Ace is going to be run down by Noob and Thug. The tight under the full Tofu as well. Boom's able to jump back and to get DNZ. So you can find Omar as well with a slight fist and a remnant now. He will make the trade. A couple of kills for Boom. Other than that, it was 3 kills overall for CoolGuys. Thug able to pick up the majority of them as he steps himself right up into the top 2 net worth off the back of that involvement. Thug.
Yeah, and that's without Funnick TPing too, which like you could argue that.
Dire's middle tower.
And it was the Ravage.
Yeah, they did use the Ravage too. Like, yeah, that's really rough for Team Tickles. Like, I think Funnick is probably the strongest hero on the Dire right now. Just considering like he has this armlet timing, he's Mars. Like once you get this ult on Mars, you're just such a strong hero.
Boom. He was trying to take away this stack. Is he going to be able to get away with it? He is. Nice attempt with the shot.
Nice try.
He's out with the haste ring, a little too speedy.
Well, not a bad try there. They're still just running straight at the top tower on Team Tickles. They're just slamming their heads into it until it falls.
Yeah, this time around, CoolGuys,
they're gonna get it.
They're gonna let this go.
It's
Dire structures are fortified.
It's a little bit too low to defend, even playing into not having the Ravage.
Are those cracks in Dire's
Funnick on the other side though is also pressuring. He's got that catapult, so
top tower has fallen.
Hillary's trying to hold it.
He's now got a backup from Noob with bots complete. Noob ready to get continue to be aggressive. He has the Dream Coil, so Team Tickle's not going to show anybody's face down here on the tier 1. So they'll get the trade, take the tower. CoolGuys. Just like these here, 1k up.
I feel like Noob this game has been in the right place. Like every single time we see him, he's making the right moves, and it like looks easy just because it's like he's doing it right, and whenever somebody's doing something right, it always looks easy. Okay.
Wants to start up some action here. And it's a good start, but it's a good save. Swap comes in from Tofu, gets Ace out to the side. Tofu will pay of his life, but Ace is kept alive for now. The coil's out. No other way to head over here. Ravage ready.
Damn, if they could have killed him before he gets a Ravage off, that would be so important. But great save from Venge. It's a fairly good Venge game, actually, for the swap. I think a lot of the time people look at Venge as a hero these days. It's oftentimes as like a buffing minus armor hero, but you often forget how strong the swap is, especially with the damage reduction component to it. Like pure damage, physical damage, like literally nothing goes through damage reduction other than like, what is it, HP removal. But there's like 2 abilities in Dota that do HP removal now, so it's basically like the best form of damage immunity in the game. It also stacks additively, so if you get like Spectre with Avenge, you can literally have 100% damage reduction.
That's pretty insane.
Ursa as well, these sorts of heroes.
Still continues to be a very close game, this one, on the numbers. 12 minutes in, less than 1k in it.
Comforting rune of regeneration.
Both the SF, the PA carry, having a bit of an awkward beginning, but very, very close to one another here on their progress with the Dragon Lances.
It's been a weird game. Been a weird game so far.
See Funnick. He's poking at the tide, but Ace does have the Ravage. Force it out of him. He is going to pop it onto the 4. Is it going to be enough to allow Tofu and him to get out, though? That's the question. It doesn't look like it. Dream Coil snaps. And Ravage put to waste there, as CoolGuys would still take the 2 kills.
I feel like instinctively it makes sense that you'd think Tide is actually pretty good against TA because it's this hero that's typically considered pretty good against physical damage, but Tidehunter has damage block in his Kraken Shell.
Yeah.
And damage block is really terrible versus just like high amounts of damage because it works off of like the total amount. So TA is one of the few heroes in Dota that's a physical damage hero that can actually melt through a Tide at this point in the game with that Melt Strike. Every single time the fight starts, you see Thug just like using all of his abilities on the Tide. Like normally that would be bad, but he knows this matchup. He knows that TA is actually really good against Tide, and so it results in this hero that's supposed to be this tanky frontliner not able to do his job.
Yeah, and he's struggling in these sort of, well, I guess not full-on team fights, and the Team Tickles didn't have the full squad around, but when Ace is trying to play aggressive and being forced to use the Ravage, slowing down his game a little bit, he's going to head back to just trying to get his pipe finished off to buff the team up that little bit more and maybe encourage the rest of the cores to turn up and fight around him. And still the recovery game was being played by ISF. But Dracho, he's got the mask and the Dragon Lance can now work on that BKB, and once he's got that BKB timing, we'll definitely see him looking to get involved in the 5-man fights. He might get brought into some action a little prematurely though, as CoolGuys, they're on the hunt for him. Running quick with the jump, and that'll do it. Slowly but surely, Dracho, I say, well, he's able to get the Requiem off. Okay, doesn't matter, still goes down, coil out to the side, new breath, Tofu. Ice Bar catches both of them into the dual breath. Tofu will slowly burn. Funnick's still playing around with Boom as Boom's trying to catch this Mars. Funnick incredibly low right now. Boom should be able to find him. I mean, some good armlet toggles may just keep Funnick safe. He's into the trees, and Boom, he's not going to be able to catch a glimpse of him there. So Funnick will manage to walk away. They get the 2 kills. They get out without losing anything, CoolGuys.
In that fight, Funnick tried to spear to the Hoodwink tree, which would have been so cool if it worked, but it's a lot harder to do than you would think. Like, you need to, back when the Ironwood tree was in the game, you needed to like literally not move your mouse and press the spear exactly where you place the Ironwood tree, or you wouldn't be able to hit it, because the hitbox on those like spawn trees from Ironwood branches and from Hoodwink, they're actually, it's a really small hitbox, so it's not an easy spear to hit. I don't know. Boom wouldn't have died, but it's such a funny interaction.
Cool, yeah.
It would have looked cool.
It would look very cool.
It's not super important, but it's like it's one of those things that's like impossible to hit for some reason. Just Dota things.
Coming in with a smoke, but they've been hit with the scan. CoolGuys know what's coming. DNC, he'll be the one to face them head on here. His life will certainly be lost, but information given will keep the rest of CoolGuys safe.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want out of your position 5. Just run in, tank the smoke. It is right in front of the Roche pit, but that's why you'd want your 5 to do that, because he has buyback if they did actually have a decent roshing lineup at this point. And then also he's just going to respawn super quickly, so they can do a smoke like this and it's no big deal.
Oh, I'm going to get a replay, but of course at the same time the smoke coming in. I'll see again here. Funnick, as you said, trying for the tree.
You would think that would work, but it just doesn't.
Funnick, look at the arena laid down onto the 3 of them. They're heading in, coil as well out. They got the damage though. Trying to get Thug in position, but it's a little difficult, and there's still the Ravage from Ace that they have to respect. You can see that here as they're trying to back off. Noob won't be able to get back out though. Noob goes down. Ravage from Ace, focusing down the TAs. They surround Thug. Needs help. He's getting as much assistance as they can give him, but it isn't enough. Requiem from Dracho comes into play. Thug will fall. Team
the previous series that we casted with these guys, he was also on Tidehunter, and it was the same thing where like he was putting himself in the front and just making it so hard in that fight for CoolGuys to like do anything, because they know if they run behind him and they actually group up, they're going to get ravaged. And then he uses it at this last possible second, and the TA is isolated. And the only reason that they're able to do that is because he's actually patient with it. He's not just using it as soon as the fight starts on anything.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They're kind of close with CoolGuys. They've got a few heroes around it, but it doesn't seem too coordinated. Funnick gets swapped down to the low ground. He's out.
Radiant's middle tower.
And the rest of CoolGuys, they've got to step back without Funnick. The sort of main initiator. It's going to be very hard to disrupt this Roshan from being finished off by Team Tickles, as Team Tickles resume business in the pit. Now get that Aegis on Dracho.
Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to take
Got some very scary timing now. It's just SF turning up to the fights with the Aegis, and almost certainly by the time it's gone, or a couple of minutes into it, he'll have that BKB as well. They're going to have a very strong fight, Team Tickles. The last couple or so haven't been too clean for CoolGuys.
Yeah, this is arguably one of the worst times that you can give an Aegis to Team Tickles, just because, like you said, it gives the SF that kind of bridge to get to his BKB timing. Otherwise, you can just kind of like keep, picking him off over and over again and punish him before he gets to that BKB where he becomes like immortal. Now it's like, you have to pick him off twice, and so it probably just won't happen. So that's 4 minutes, and that's plenty of time to get a BKB.
Noob. Hunting him. He's a bit of a slippery hero to catch that. Something with the chains. That's going to drop the coil down, but that was dodged by a nice slide of the fish from Boom. So Noob's going to have to back off. Had the arcane rune pumping though, so yeah, that will be back up relatively soon.
That helps. It's so hard to catch this hero with an arcane. You've almost permanent phase shift at this point. It's a pain. 1.6 second downtime.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, but easily spam out that top creep wave push as well, making it hard for Team Tickles to really do anything with the Aegis on the top lane.
Now the question is, which of these two heroes between the TA and the SF out-carries the other? Because they're both safe laners, or they're both, mid laners becoming safe laners, so we don't exactly have a lot of stats on this, right? It's like, these matchups, like Amber's Dusa, these are like old matchups. This is a new one in terms of safe lane. I would wager that SF.
I would go with the SF.
Probably out-carries the TA.
With sort of the lifesteal, the power of a Requiem, if he's able to time it around any potential BKBs, he's having that strong pushback. Sure, what the TA later on might get some sort of bash potential or something, but yeah, I think
my
SF has shown us to be that strong.
Yeah,
the way he can just sort of stand there and trade back and just get a satanic.
Just one-shot people on every hit. It's like TA has these like meld strikes that might one-shot people, but SF, it kind of feels like it's consistent. Constant. And that to me seems like something easier to play around at a carry position.
There we go. He's going to come out, Ace, to drop the Ravage to lock down Thug. Tofu with the magic missile. Thug in a lot of trouble here. As that is Thug gone, they weren't able to do anything around the arena of Funnick. The rest of CoolGuys having to bail out of there as soon as that Ravage came out and Thug was completely locked out.
Yeah, that's another thing with TA. I mean, but both heroes very squishy, for sure. I think you'd prefer in the late game a satanic hero with the BKB that can turn around and just lifesteal the full HP. That's not really what TA does. Like, TA is kind of, you play around the refraction and blinking out if people go on you, or just like turning and man fighting with the refraction. It's just not really a satanic hero. So you can see there, like when TA gets caught out and the refraction charges are peeled off, she looks like a support. She's just paper.
There's going to be it for Noob. He has got the coil. Wants to try and set something up. Thug back in a second. Tofu is maybe looking for a swap setup. He's heading straight in on this. He's got dive for that. My boy. Pretty aggressive there from Tofu. Coil's going to come out, but he still has the Aegis and the BKB. Going to turn and start constantly trading back with Noob. Having them to bring him down the once quite yet. Duracio, he's still alive. And Aegis or BKB not being put to test yet. Finally, he'll fall as the Aegis is taken out of him. Still has the BKB. They'll lock him down straight away with an ice path, but nothing else to throw out his way as they have to respect this SF and his BKB potential.
Yeah, that there to me is looking like that's becoming the kind of like classic SF where you just turn at 10% HP and start chunking away, and then you somehow live every single time. And then also like the Requiem comes out afterwards, and then you have another reason that you're living. It's like almost a buzzkill hero. Baits you to go on it, and then you're feared away, or they just turn and man fight you and they kill you in like one shot.
Yeah, now you have to be so sure that you can just 100-0.
You do. Yeah, kill him in a stun or something like that. Hard to do though. Easier said than done.
They're beating on Dire's top
An easy
tower.
tier 2 for Team Tickles, so they're now starting to gain a little bit of a lead on the gold. Some smoke coming out as well off the back of that. They're ready to hunt for action. Put Ravage back up in 10 seconds. A very tanky looking Ace as well, close to having the Halberd, so another thing that's going to be thrown into the mix that's not going to make life too fun for Thug.
Radiant's bottom tower is
And gearing up pretty nicely to deal with this TA. Of course, Dracho also queuing up the Skadi next, so something else that's really going to slow down
not much
and just sort of
Radiant's bottom tower.
make it almost impossible for the TA to stand and trade with this SF.
Yeah, that's a great pickup for this game, just because he's against so many ranged heroes. It's like it's just the Mars that's going to be able to sit there and, like, I don't know, maybe tank those satanic hits. But it slows melee heroes so much. I like Halberd too this game. Anytime you're against a ranged carry, these items are just way more value, because literally it just has higher numbers for ranged heroes.
Yeah, Scott and Halberd's going to make it just a nightmare for Thug to fight.
Yeah, it seems like they've kind of missed their timing a bit for CoolGuys. And, you know, we're just theory crafting the TA versus SF. It's really hard to say, just because, like we talked about, they're new heroes in the safe lane, but it doesn't feel like a matchup that's going to go any better for CoolGuys as the game goes later, unless one of these other heroes can tip the balance. Yeah, I mean, we've got to have some, you know, like godly plays from Furnick, jumps in, sets up onto the SF, and bam, the SF's gone. Yeah, it's something like that.
It is hard, you know, as you say, because there's swap, because there's Ravage, a lot of ways to react to that sort of instant jump. That's going to give quite a few reasons to believe that Dracho is going to get that chance to turn and stand his ground.
Yeah, it seems like it's very likely to have that chance.
So they can set up mid. And Disarms come out onto the TA very quickly there from Ace. So a fair bit of the BKB was put to waste there as Thug wasn't able to hit. As, yeah, instantly with the disarm before the BKB was used. So a lot of time there. Thug couldn't really do much more than just watch on.
And now Team Tickles feels like they're absolutely on top of the world. They have a Tidehunter with Ravage. They have a lead. They have this SF who feels like he can just two-shot people. Yeah, they're going to smoke.
They know how strong they are right now, Team Tickles.
No TA, BKB, just go. You know, the Mars BKB doesn't matter as much. He's going to have to use it here.
I mean, Furnick, yeah, he's got to get out. He's the hold here. He'll respond with the arena. That's enough to save it. They've got him with the slight chains. As this will be a dead Mars, there's no saving Furnick. Furnick out for 50, and he's such a crucial part here of CoolGuys' ability to try and take a team fight. No Mars. They have no way to start off the action onto Team Tickles. Dream Call at this point, it just is not enough.
Yeah, they're down 2 BKBs as well. They still have Ace with the Ravage. You're going to sit on the high ground and tank this, especially with the Leech Seed maxed out, which is what we're seeing is a pretty typical build for Treant Protector these days. Does he have a Holy Locket? No, not this time.
They just can't stop this at all. I mean, they're only down on numbers 4K, and without one hero, they're off playing at that. Just the power of this SF.
You really don't want to
allows Drash, he can just stand there. Scardy's going to be complete. It's, you know, 5K is not a huge difference, but this definitely feels like one of those games where it's much more than a 5K deficit they feel that they're playing at, just in the nature of Team Tickles' lineup.
Yeah, they have this amazing death ball, especially if you can, like, force out those BKBs. But even without the with the BKBs, we can see Celery, the Treant ult, functioning versus those, where you just, like, you go in, you force out the BKB, and then you tree ult, and SF just sits there and hits. They have this nice combination of different damage types, BKB piercing, non-BKB piercing, where there are just so many ways for Team Tickles to fight, and it feels like CoolGuys, they don't really have that many ways to fight. It's like they have to.
They're gonna try
get an arena spear onto the SF.
They've got to burst Dracho
somehow. They have to somehow do it.
They're gonna try for the BKBs out immediately. Dracho responds straight away. Running with his own BKB will try and stand his ground against this SF, but this is where SF's in his element. Furnick's having to back off. Dracho just pummeling into him. They'll lock him down with the overgrowth. BKB popped by Thug. They'll try and punch it away, but the Ravage are perfectly timed as Thug's BKB comes to an end. Ace tickles him with the Ravage. 2 dead on the side of CoolGuys. Dracho ready to chase the rest of them down back to the base. The buybacks will come out here, but Thug's out for a minute. Noob not quite able to push Celery over the edge there. Was trying to fight him on the back lines, but now back by the side of Boom and Dracho. It's not a target that Noob can go in for. The mid-racks are dealt with. Team Tickles, they'll swing over towards the top. And the game just continues to look to be in a state where CoolGuys, it's just so hard for them to do anything against this Team Tickles.
Yeah, and Tickles can force the issue too because of the SF talent for the aura hit buildings. It's such a nice timing for SF. you farm up these items.
I mean, they're in. They know Thug's not got a BKB for 20 seconds still. It's on cooldown. Thug to try and turn. He's been disarmed to hide in the middle, but he's taken out by Duraccio. Bunny tried to jump over, but it's all over with Thug down for 80 seconds. No buyback. GG is called. And it was a pretty slow, balanced start, but it really just hit this point this game where it just felt impossible for CoolGuys. Team Tickles, they had the items. Everything seemed to, you could sort of see how every sort of fight was going to play out because of how well-rounded their draft was around this SF. Tough game for CoolGuys.
What's really impressive to me
5 seconds remaining. Radiant team's turn to ban. Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining. Dire team's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team's turn to pick.
Game 2 of CoolGuys versus Team Tickles coming at you here. Dream League Season 16 powered by Intel. And yes, it is Game 2 because the first game was taken by Team Tickles despite CoolGuys trying to beat their Shadow Fiend carry strategy. And let's find out if that Shadow Fiend makes it through this time around. For the second time in a row, we do have Team Tickles on the Radiant side with first pick as well, and therefore Dire side again for CoolGuys with their second pick. We got Synderen, we got Tigav, and we got a draft.
We got a Weaver.
And Shadow Fiend did get banned by CoolGuys this time around.
Yeah, see CoolGuys instantly then obviously pick up the Bane here as a response because I feel like Team Tickles, if they had Bane and Weaver, double saves, would be pretty annoying to play into. Ooh. Very early Quap actually. Second pick Quap, I don't think we've seen that yet.
We had a phase closing Quap from Tundra last night, but it wasn't 1-2.
Exactly,
yeah. Obvious picks you go for into this Quap straight away when you see it. Historically, Dragon Knight has been very popular. I don't know if you want to grab that now as a potential punish. I guess, you know, there's different, like Puck used to be a popular hero as well against Queen of Pain. Not sure if that's a first phase hero. Like, I'm trying to think of what you do since we're like, oh, this is early. Like, how do you punish this hero? Is it, do you pick tanky heroes so that you can just sustain all of the damage, or do you try to pick silencers, single target stuns that are quick, hexes? There's plenty of options, obviously. Could maybe see a Lion come out for Tofu if they want to do that, but he's probably playing Weaver. So, gonna have to wait and see. I think Tundra would have picked Spirit Breaker here in the CoolGuys slot with this opener. If the enemy team first picks Weaver, they would have picked Spirit Breaker +1. They could have actually even picked Spirit Breaker Quap yesterday. That would have been something they might have done.
Radiant team's turn to ban.
Let's see what Tickles do. Okay. Strong lane combo, minus armor in the swarm. There's just a lot of garbage you need to get rid of. There's boars, there's bugs.
It's all about the lane, right? In regards to, so Bane is one of the best 5 for winning a lane, but that's in regards to being like a duel of just support v support, right? When the offlaner brings in then the boars like Synderen just mentioned, and you have the bugs and the fact that Bane can't walk out of the lane and start 1v2ing that you can sometimes do. Yeah, now it completely removes that potential. And CoolGuys, if they want to be aggressive in this lane, the carry needs to really pack a punch, and you can't just pick one of these more farming oriented carries that Bane normally does unlock.
Bane is fine in this lane until level 3. I think at that point it just gets too difficult. Maybe even level 2 on Weaver. Yeah, when you unlock the swarm and you have one boar, Weaver wins the trade, and Bane needs to use multiple attacks to just get rid of the bug and be competitive. It is very, very annoying. One of the upsides to Bane against Weaver is, of course, Fiend's Grip, but I consider it more of a Weaver counter when Weaver is a core, because when Weaver is a core, it needs to commit more into the fight and get itself into riskier positions where it can take that grip. As a support, a lot of the time you just play the outskirts. You throw a swarm, you Shukuchi around the backline, you do something that isn't necessarily hard commitment because you don't have that threat on you. So I don't really consider Bane a counter to support Weaver, which again begs the question, is it justified to pick Bane in this slot over Spirit Breaker in this patch, right? Because he is a counter to support Weaver in a big way.
And also now that you see Hoodwink, right? Like I feel if you had Spearbreaker here, for example, it's like the draft looks quite nice, right? You got the front lining style hero and the two skirmishing, but alas, that didn't happen for Team Tickles though. We didn't mention their banners yet. It's the PA, the Kunkka, the Terrorblade. These are all heroes that would be so good against Beastmaster, but they're very quick with their draft.
Yeah. You know, a lot of the times you would consider something like picking this fast as a sign of confidence and like you know exactly what, but
they're drafting for themselves.
I almost feel like it's almost a sign of weakness where I don't necessarily think the teams are taking enough time to really address what's going on, and this is not to be disrespectful in any way. Like, I think Team Tickles' counter picks to Hoodwink, to me, makes more sense that they can do this quickly than this is a snap pick Luna. Like, I'm looking at these heroes and I don't see why this is a snap pick Luna game at all right now.
No, I agree.
Unless you're like, okay, you know what? Our carry hero pool, there's not much left. We want something. What do you want to play, Thug? He's like, give me Luna. I want to play Luna this game. And then, sure, if Luna Bane is your go-to against a Beastmaster Weaver lane, that's fine. I think it's a good lane. From more of a macro perspective, I don't think they have the heroes that CoolGuys have solve Invoker particularly well. I don't think Luna is a good carry matchup there at all.
Well, I think for CoolGuys at least, they're going to rely on, I think, Funnick to really unlock the draft, right? They ban out Mars, some Timbersaw S carry where you can just run around, annoy Luna, push out the lane against Beastmaster. You don't lose your tower potentially, just do no beam, just glaives and passive, and then you just get Aegis and fight, right? Like you just try and end the game, but it does put so much emphasis on Funnick having a good game and kind of controlling where the fights are taken. Because so far, the 3 games we've seen CoolGuys take, I don't think we've seen them be proactive in any 3 of them. They've just reacted to every fight and then slowly lost their own map. And this is the type of draft where you need to actually set some kind of entry to the game. Otherwise, Luna won't find any room to farm because Team Tickles, Invoker, Quaswex, running around killing stuff, you know, Beastmaster, chipping away at towers, disruptive, you know, a lane dominator if the offlane is quite weak. Like, it's looking
5 seconds remaining.
CoolGuys just need to improve as a team with this type of draft. They need to show that they've understood some of their losses.
On the bright side, they do save Funnick's pick for overall last, especially compared to previous game. So they are recognizing that he is going to be the one having to be set up for success.
I do think something that's worth keeping in mind about these 2 lineups is both teams are playing double range support, right? And you might be like, okay, isn't that kind of even, or in terms of, like, we've talked about, oh, we like having sometimes a melee 4 that goes in first or something that sets up plays or whatever. I think the key difference here between these 2 teams when they do have all these range supports is, okay, if all of them are like follow-ups or dependency heroes, which from my perspective, Hoodwink, again, largely a follow-up hero in most situations. Bane can be, as a 5, usually with the net worth you have, you're primarily a save and sometimes you get a good grip, but you can't like trust Bane to start the fight, right? Then I'm looking to the mid hero, right? Like, who is making the moves? On one side you have Quaswex Invoker, who can set up plays for his supports to shine. On the other side you have Quap, who is, for the most part, especially until you get Orchid, you kind of want to arrive and clean up, but not start the fight. You can't just blink in with Quap against this lineup and start a fight. You're going to die on the spot, right? You Static Storm, Cold Snap, Tornado, EMP, Roar. Like, Queen can't go first. So CoolGuys have effectively, in this position with the draft, I feel like they're so pigeonholed that Funnick's hero is like one archetype. There's nothing else that's going to work. He has to go in first, have a stun, be a frontline and tanky,
I think it's
and be able to handle the lane.
I think they ignore the stun and you just go for like a Timbersaw. I know obviously there's a Quaswex Invoker that can be quite annoying, but you need someone who just goes, we will win our lane, so that you waste TPs away to give Luna a timing. Because if you, like, is there Tide?
Tide's in.
Okay, Tide also actually works, but into Disruptor, pretty annoying. It's like you just need that type of hero, right? That rounds out the lack of stun that you have. Because if once Wraithing gets to items, we saw, you know, Matu yesterday, of course, it took 50 or so minutes for it to have like explosive impact, but it's the same thing, right? It's Wraithing is a slower carry where you need Armlet, Deso, Link, then you're winning the game, right? So
he's amplified a lot though, right?
Yeah, that's true.
He has Alacrity, he has Beastmaster Aura, he has Swarm, so he will be coming online faster than you expect. He's Radiant. They're going to be getting Roche probably. It's I think a lot of the problems that I see here, there's the front line with stun that starts the fight, right? So when you look at the first 3 heroes from CoolGuys, I think this is where you effectively, if you pick 3 heroes like this together, I think you're limiting the scope of what you can do to solve what the enemy team throws at you afterwards by a lot when you draft like this. So I fundamentally don't really like going for these kind of triple ranged opener in the beginning where it's these kinds of heroes. Not that there's anything wrong with picking 3 ranged heroes, but I'm a little bit worried with the support pairing in general with Bane Hoodwink and what it shows the enemy team and what it does. Now imagine they had these 3 ranged hero openings and Quap is the Invoker instead. I think it's totally different because all of a sudden now you have these 2 ranged support follow-ups that could play around an Invoker Quaswex set them up for success. But now there's a lot of dependency and very little way to get there. I think Funnick has to have a good game. If Funnick loses his lane, this game looks grim. If he pops off with a dagger, they can start taking some good fights. That's what you got to hope for if you're a CoolGuys fan.
Yeah, I mean, draft aside, I think CoolGuys need to just try and find a way to enter the game. You know, we've seen them time and time again. Oh, they're ganking on safe lanes, bring the boys, you know? Like, we need to see them actually have a moment in the game where they hit a timing and make something happen, because
where they are the ones deciding what happens on the map, and they don't just follow what their enemies are doing.
Exactly, and you know, it's 3 games that's happened so far, so hopefully for CoolGuys at least they actually get to show us something in this game.
Show us something, CoolGuys. Let's see if they can show us a game 3 or if Tickles will take this one. We're finding out together with OD Pixel and Jenkins.
We are indeed. Game 2, ladies and gentlemen, of CoolGuys versus Team Tickles. There is no SF, of course, this time around for Duracho. He's going to be on the Wraith King. What do we make of this, Jenkins? We saw a pretty close start to Game 1. You know, the potential is there for CoolGuys. Look at this lineup. Can they take a game against Team Tickles?
I mean, it's possible. They have good snowballing heroes. Hoodwink Bane looks like a bit of a sus support duo, unless they're very far ahead, and then all of a sudden you have these like 2 heroes that are sitting in both side lanes, just like constantly setting up their team. On the flip side, I think that the Team Tickles draft is very well-rounded, and I personally don't feel like the Beastmaster is properly dealt with. He does very well against Bane, Luna, and Lane, and the Dom creep. I mean, there's just nothing to deal with the Dom creep, you know?
That's true. Yeah, some nice micro could go pretty far this game for Ace. We'll see if he's able to pull it off, and all ready to start off the game. Both teams looking for a smoke. A bit of that first blood action. We'll see whether they're able to find it around the river.
Damn, smoke on smoke. Oh, these supports. Yeah, you've been watching too many of each other's replays, my boys.
I know. Yeah, they got eyes on each other here.
This is the meta in Europe, even in the pubs. Like, you have this just 5-man run at mid and protect your tier 1 tower. See if somebody walks up to try to deward. If they walk up to try to deward, you get like a bunch of damage on them, maybe even kill them. Sometimes you just go ahead and scream at Pain the Fog. That also helps out. There's team morale boosting going on there.
Oh, let's see.
He was going for the Hawk, actually. I think he was thinking maybe there's a Hawk there or something.
That's true. Could have been the chance that Ace was scouting things out over there. Not to be the case. And we'll see with the lane setup this time round. Will be some more standard stuff. We're not going to see those aggro tri-lanes as we did last game.
Yeah, they're like, no, not again, please. Duracho. He's not interested.
We'll see to start things off. Duracho was able to step in. Very 5 last years, I believe, to secure that bounty room. So Team Tickles will start with the 3 bounties. Tofu, quite the hit from these 2. He will make his way up towards that top lane, of course, to be there by the side of Ace. Mid lane matchup, Boom as Invoker against Noob. See which way Boom wants to play at this game. Would you imagine? Yeah, Wex has already been skilled up.
I think the pretty typical build, other than like super lately, is Quaswex into like eventual exort points. Maybe like 3 points Quas, 4 points Wex, maybe 4-4, and then eventually going for the exort.
Lag.
Oh, not the microphones this time, just the lag.
Just the lag.
No problem.
With the old Carly.
This matchup mid used to be pretty big in favor of Invoker, because Queen of Pain is supposed to be this like lane dominating hero that throws Shadow Strike on people, and then Invoker just regens through it, right? with this Quas Orbs. But with that being said, Scream of Pain these days played more as like a
My work here.
farming hero with Scream of Pain as opposed to this like lane harass, which
I can see it. I mean, as you said, but because there's ways for the Invoker to deal with that sort of bullying, so it's a point. It's like, why waste resources on him if you're never really going to quite get that kill?
yeah, just in general, I think Queen of Pains are favoring that as well, just as like a playstyle thing. So that way you're not relying on like dominating your lane. You can just kind of farm, which is the mid lane, the way the mid lane works these days.
Oh, bottom Celery. They're getting taken down there by DNZ and Funnick. He'll be fine. South from the lane will be popped.
This is another common trend that you see. Celery has 3 mangoes. More common on Disruptor than a lot of other heroes because you can spam out your Q a bunch, and I think he may have had more to start, but yeah, people are going tons of mangoes these days on subs, just like spamming regen, and then eventually you die and you come back with like maybe more mangoes or Basilius, some stats, and you just win the lane by like having resources.
And it's this sort of a lane that you will imagine that Team Tickles with this duo will come out a bit stronger from. The Wraith King and Disrupt against Center on Bay.
Hard to say. It could go either way. Like both teams have kill threat.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe not against a Nightmare level 1. I see. I thought that maybe it was going to be a brain sap.
Dyer's courier got killed.
Yeah, I think Wraith King Disruptor probably puts out more harass than Centaur Bane. They can also push the lane pretty easily with the skeletons. So I think you're pretty happy as a Wraith King in this lane, but Centaur will get his timing. He'll also do fine. It's a bit of a wash.
I mean, we're seeing actually in the side lanes there already a bit of an edge here for Team Tickles. A bit of a slow start for Luna at top. Harassment from Tofu on his Weaver's been rather a nuisance here on the top lane, and it's going to continue to do so as he will find the courier. No stick or a backup set of tangos for Thug now. That's taken out as Omar still got some regen for the lane. He has not, so completely out of regen now on this top lane for Dyer.
I was gonna say, sniping couriers is one of the most underrated ways to win lanes. Not only does it give you a ton of gold, it's like equivalent to like a creep wave of gold, but also it means that you can't ferry out regen.
Yep.
And like I said, laning right now is just supports pumping regen after regen after regen into the core. And so to deny that, whether you're killing the core's courier or the support's courier, like either there's stats coming out from the core to like snowball the lane, or regen coming out from the support to snowball the lane. And the couriers are constantly in use. So if you snipe one of them, it throws off the whole timing. It throws off the whole balance. And so sniping couriers is like, that's massive. That's why he sets up this ward for it. Like actually playing to snipe couriers and not just being like, oh, you don't take them when they come. Being like, no, I'm going to snipe couriers this game, guaranteed. That is genuinely very good.
It really is. You know, Weaver is the best support hero to do it on.
Yeah, it's like Weaver and Mirana are like the 2 best.
Sure, I guess Mirana's pretty close, but I highly recommend it. You know, if you ever just want to have a chill time in a pub, just go play some support Weaver, get some deep wards down behind the tower, and just kill couriers. I mean, you might die. You probably will die, actually, if you've never done it before and you're following my advice. You know, unfortunately for Tofu, he does go down here, but you're gonna get to kill couriers, and I can say, you know, as someone that's been on the other side of it, it's incredibly infuriating having your courier taken away by a Weaver, because for the most part, there's not a lot you can do unless you get rid of that ward, and he's unable to get the read of the movements of the couriers.
You know, the awful thing about it too, as a safe lane, is that the offlaner always builds this Helm of Ironwell, and so they don't need the regen that you need from the courier. So it's like you need your courier and they don't. Oh, Tofu twice in a row here, man. Yeah, he's just level 1 Sakuchi, so close to that level 2 Sakuchi. It's such a long cooldown level 1. It's something you can definitely punish.
I mean, at what point does getting those kills in that top lane, you know, balance with the fact that you're struggling to get CS as the Luna, you know? Is it the 3rd kill they get on the Weaver? Is that at a point where it's like, well, you know what, it doesn't really matter that Thug wasn't able to freely farm?
Yo, this rotation, I mean, this is great. Punishing the... How about Boom TP's in?
I mean, Thug is deep. Thug's dead. A really nice response there from Boom. I mean, it did look like that this quad movement from Noob was going to set up something big for a top lane that was struggling. You know, Thug wasn't able to farm. Sure, they were getting some action on the Weaver, but they weren't getting the CS. Tofu, is he going to be able to chase down Omar as well? Not quite. Omar into the trees. Nice little juke around the edge of the vision. Omar should be able to make it out of there. Courier, though, on the other hand, won't. That's another courier gone, so he's going to be stuck here without anything. He's got no HP, no mana. Bottom lane, Raid 5 last in on the fighting. Dracho steps up. Takes the kill.
They're both really low HP now. This is the problem with getting kills and laning in general. This is exactly why people build Helm of Iron Will, because like, you get a kill, you're just giving the enemy guy like full resources. They come back, they own you. Obviously, you know, you get a little bit of gold for it. You're cool with it, but laning it's all about those resources these days. Which is why sniping the courier again for Tofu, such a pain. Like, he didn't uphill miss on either of those two shots. It's very lucky. Ace is chilling up here. He's so happy.
He is, yeah. I mean, he's going to hit 6, and Thug's still going to be at a stage where he'll be very vulnerable as this Luna in the lane.
Yep. Yeah, Ace has been getting all this solo XP because Tofu's just like sniping couriers and dying. Which, like, you know, maybe he shouldn't be dying. With less deaths, this would be a better lane, of course, but you don't care that much when your Beastmaster is like completely free-farming like this.
How close is he to the 6?
He's got the Helm Dome already. That's a 6-minute Helm Dome, and he's about to get 6.
Yeah, his top lane is very spooky for CoolGuys.
He's gonna need to like head to another camp to get that Dom creep though. That one, of course, is blocked with that ward. Centaur has the Vanguard. Not exactly the same timing as the Dom. I feel like the Dom heroes tend to be a lot stronger once they pick that item up versus Vanguard heroes, just because it's been nerfed so much. But it's still a strong timing. Centaur's borderline unkillable.
See top lane, Celery. He's come up for a bit of action, and it's going to be enough to help set up for the kill on the Hoodwink. Omar taken out. Now the push comes into the tower, and yeah, Thug's got to hide. With the Primal Roar ready to go on Ace, this is a very difficult place to play around. Noob has headed over to the area.
That's animal cruelty.
Yeah, Noob is, I mean, because your thought process here is like, if you give this tower to Beast, he just snowballs the entire map right now. So coming up here, just dealing with the catapult is definitely a play.
I don't believe this.
They will be able to get in onto Durasio there. Good read of the fact that
isn't going to last long.
A lot of focus from Team Tickles is top, and they'll punish that. Take out the carry. Still want to poke at this Noob. Does have Sonic Wave. Wants to jump in for the kill. He'll have it. He does. And he goes. Lovely Sonic Wave as well. Pushing back the two of them. See, I might try and chase down Ace, but they've got anything else to catch the Beastmaster. They do. Omar with the control. Sets up. Excellent stuff there from CoolGuys up top. The patience pays off. Noob was hovering around that area for quite some time, and they choose the perfect time to strike, getting all 3 kills here for Noob.
Really great read from him. It's hard to make that decision to play into a Beastmaster, because if you're wrong about it and you just go up there and get roared, like all of a sudden Beastmaster becomes a mid. Like, he just becomes this core that snowballs the map, and you can't do a single thing about it. But Noob is like, no. He's not that high level. Like, my game is really good. They can't get this tower. They kill the catapult. The Beastmaster doesn't have a good creep to work with. He's got that like pathetic melee creep, and so just the whole read of that situation is results in this eventual triple kill. And I would say most mid laners probably ditch that tower. They probably just go bot and get kills there. But he makes the calculation most people wouldn't. And he was right.
Yeah. No, very good play there from Noob.
Radiant structures.
See him return over towards the mid. TNZ trying to pick up that 6, not quite there yet. Top lane, Ace and Boom back to putting the pressure on. Looks like CoolGuys want to turn up again to the top lane to try and do something about it once more. Noob and DNZ will make their way over. Also backed up by the presence of Thug. See if CoolGuys can hold this area once again. Team Tickles, 4 of them themselves. So no 6s on the supports. DNZ's going to step up. They'll try and use the Stampede to get him out of there, but he's going to get caught in the combo. Boom. DNZ will be taken out. Now a team member down. CoolGuys might find it a little more difficult to hold up the defense that they wanted to top. And indeed, they look to back away. They won't try. They'll let this tower go. So Team Tickles finally able to push this one down.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
So I think giving this tower up at this point, like oh man, that's not what you want.
It's going to be a second support death there up top. As Omar also ends up getting caught out by Celery.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a feed, because, you know, I was going to say, like, you're 5 dying for that, defending that tower for that long, and then also that allows you to get the bottom tower with Centaur. You're kind of okay with giving that away. It's not so much something that, like, Beastmaster could snowball the map, you know, take the top tower, rotate to mid, take the mid tower, and then all of a sudden, you're playing with this, like, 2-tower advantage. The reason CoolGuys are okay with giving that up is because they have the bot tower as well, and so they know that they're not going to have this like map disadvantage by doing that. They put up enough of a resistance. Obviously, you don't want your supports feeding as much, but now Funnick can just kind of sit in front of the mid tower, and Beastmaster's not going to be getting that. They can just kind of farm the map now. Like, Ace is going to try, but it's really difficult to push into a Centaur just standing there. They do have a catapult.
Now, we'll see if Funnick does return. I mean, so you would imagine he will look to position himself on this mid lane.
He's got a Hood plus Vanguard. This man is tanky as hell.
Top tower?
So what Team Tickles plan to do about it? I'll start with a bit of a poke onto Funnick. You can see his mana may be taken away, but his HP is still looking pretty good here. So not able to fully move in onto Funnick. They are poking at the tower. They're keeping the siege creep protected. T1's starting to take some damage. Send the helmet of the Dawn creep in as well. That will die though. Easy 100 gold for Funnick.
Still for Tickles, you know, a good amount of pressure that they're putting on there, forcing basically everybody to be mid. Luna is farming the entire time on Thug, but on the flip side, Jiracio was also farming, so definitely favoring the team that gets a little bit of chip damage, but not, you know, not by much. Those are plays you have to go for, because if CoolGuys doesn't respond in that way, where they have the Centaur there and everybody defending him, you just lose the tower, and then you lose the game, because you're not supposed to lose that tower.
The wages of fear.
Nice. He's going to be able to confidently farm here over in the jungle, especially with Boom and Celery hidden in the shadows by his side. Funnick is still not the hero that they really want to catch. Anyone else will do. Bottom lane, DNZ's got his eyes on Jiracio. Jiracio immediately out of there. In fact, keeping all the way back to base. Top lane Noob. I think he was hunting for some action. He goes for the blink, but the bugs were out in time for Tofu, so they know exactly where he's ended up. Noob will get taken down there. Good hunt there from Team Tickles.
Die, as you well know.
Yeah, great catch from them. It's not an easy quad game, which, you know, I suppose is what you would expect when you're second picking it. Disruptor glimpse, bugs to chase you.
On DNZ, he was trying to get some vision with the high ground, but they had boards on him. They knew what was up. An easy kill there for them to step up towards. They knew exactly what was going on. Just able to resume farming. They're going to try and push it on the mid again. I mean, this tower, it is very low, and this time Funnick's not really in the neighborhood. So Team Tickles, they should have a good chance of taking this out now. Top lane, with their eyes on the Invoker. In with the Sonic Wave, he's going to go for the TP out, and Boom actually makes it away there. Excellent escape. Throwing out a tip as well there. Feeling very confident off the back of that one. Excellent TP from Boom, and a couple of ults to put to use there by, in fact, 3 ults. And the Sharpshooter, the Stampede, the Sonic Wave, doesn't matter. Couldn't quite burst the Invoker.
You know, the funny thing about Dota is it's always like such small things that matter. He's got a Belt of Strength in his inventory instead of a Robe of Magi, because he's building into drums. If he had the Robe in there instead, I think he dies there. Mid.
I'm going to try and make an attempt here onto Funnick. For everything they have down onto the Centaur, is it enough? It looks like it will be. They come out with a Nightmare to try and protect him. Funnick's still alive, but finally falls. Oh, he's going to live. A close Static Storm there from Celery stops the Fiend's Grip from DNZ. So Tofu's able to get the time lapse off. DNZ is now also going to get dragged back to his death. As Team Tickles, they'll take the 2 kills, they'll take the tower. Some smooth moves there from the Radiant, and it's not over yet. Jiracio also catching over on the back of the fight.
All right, okay, we're getting to a point with CoolGuys that you probably want your Luna to show up soon. Let's see, what is he close to? Relatively close to the BKB if you do want to disassemble the Dragon Lance for it. He's about 1,000
Look at this as well. Again, some really nice moves here from Team Tickles. They get the vision for the drag back on the glimpse. More glory here for Boom, and it feels sort of we're hitting that sort of similar level that we got a little later on in game one, where both teams solid start, but now where the moves are needed to be made, Team Tickles is just bringing it together that little bit better.
Yeah, they're definitely much better when they have this like momentum and they can oppress the map like this. Like they're just, you know, going to their own side because they know that's where the enemy team's going to be playing when you're ahead, because their side is not safe, so they're going to play on your side of the map. Having that read is something that I think that only only really good teams do. So good for Team Tickles. Yeah, CoolGuys definitely, like, they're looking for this Luna timing.
Boom's found Thug. He needs backup Thug, and he needs it now. They're going to get the glimpse back. Static Storm into the wall. He's in a lot of trouble. Thug. Boom's going to get knocked back by the Sonic Wave, but Thug, he'll be the one to fall. Boom's there to get away with the Ghost Ward. Does get by the Sharpshooter. Jumping for fame with a Hoostomp. Takes down Boom. Get the trade here, 1-for-1. DNZ slowly dines the bug. He's desperately trying to remove it from him, and he will manage to do so in time. So just the 1-for-1. That move that Team Tickles do going pretty deep for. They're right up by the tier 2 tower.
Normally mid for carry, you'd be, happy making that trade if you're Tickles, but Tickles, Boom is just so, snowballing so hard that he gives away about 500 gold for that death. Like, he's having such a good game, so I think you're okay with that trade if you're CoolGuys.
I still dodged the Ray Fire Blast by Funnick there. But Dracho, well, I'm happy to try and fight back into this. They get the drag back on DNZ. It's definitely going down. Funnick will manage to walk away from Dracho. Dracho has no further means of chasing him down. Another kill, and again, Team Tickles just continues to sort of bully CoolGuys out of the way as Dracho's able to step where he wants to. As I believe that is what the next Iron Mountain is way out, and yeah, it's going to be the full Desolator. Done on top of the arm. That's 17 minutes in. This Wraithking's going to be hitting pretty hard.
And they have great disable for Wraith King to chase almost anybody right now. Like, there are some games where you need the Blink Dagger on Wraith King before you can really get active, but between the Glimpse and the Cold Snap, Weaver Bugs that are going to be scouting people in Fog, Beastmaster Roar, the Boars that are kiting, it's like he can just sit there and whack and whack and whack, and there's no mana removal on the other side because they last picked Wraith King, so like it just has an Aegis. There's no way for them to deal with his ult at this point.
He's going to try and start up the uptick, jumps over the Hoostomp, Stampede popped as well. Immediately the damage for this Wraith King just tears Funnick apart. It doesn't stand a chance whatsoever. DNZ ran back into a big old crit from Duracho. This is a double kill for him. Soon to be more if they can control Omar. Omar is desperately trying to run, but he's been found with a Ray Fire Blast. They'll take him out as well. 3 dead on CoolGuys. It's just like game 1. It's only a 4K difference, but it feels like so much more with the way that Team Tickles are just sort of dominating with their movements, and CoolGuys are starting to once again look a little lost for what to do.
One thing that I'm noticing about Tickles drafts so far, like the previous series that we saw with them, and then this one, is that they always have some sort of like network amplifier. That's what Owie likes to call it for their carry hero. Like in this game, they have Alacrity, they have Beastmaster, they have the Weaver Bugs. Like that's why you can only have this 4K gold lead, but it looks like so much more because Wraith King is so huge that you throw all of this amplification on him, and sure, he has 10.4K net worth right now. Okay. That's like equivalent to like, I don't know, 16 or 20K or something, just given the amplification that they have right now. And the only amplification on the side of CoolGuys is Solar Crest. That's it. Which is something. Even Boom building into the drums. That's going to give the attack speed to Wraith King. Like, I really love how they're drafting and how they're playing. It means their timing is so strong.
Remember, roll go off here onto Noob. Static Storm as well, following up. Steve Duracho will be controlled with a knife on the back lines for now, but they're very split up, CoolGuys. They'll come in with the Sharpshooter and the Fiend Script to take Duracho down the ones. Funnick trying to stampede away, but he's going to get dragged back into the kinetic field as Boom takes him out, pummeling into him from the side. They do lose Duracho as CoolGuys were able to bring down the carry. And they're going to need him more though, CoolGuys, dude. Jumping in, he's got his eyes on Ace, push back with the Sonic Wave, but Ace is actually going to end up back on the low ground in the river. Ace is fine, and Noob's got to run. Noob, he bought back for this. The glimpse is there. Noob's going to get taken down a second time in this fight and die back on the quad. Kinetic Field catches Omar. They killed the Wraith King, but it cost them so much. And they end up losing 4 heroes effectively, with the Queen of Pain going down twice.
Yeah, that's one of those really awkward fights where CoolGuys, like, they're really happy with how that started because Wraith King was totally isolated. So it's like you have all this amplification that's happening, but the Wraith King, like, he's totally off screen right now. He's just dying to... this is after he died, actually. So he died off screen.
Yeah, this was the buyback from Quap.
And so the problem is, like, they use so much to kill him that the rest of Team Tickles can just wipe up CoolGuys. It's a hard calculation to make. You know, it's kind of like, instead of isolating the Wraith King and then focusing the Wraith King, the take on it after that fight is you need to isolate the Wraith King, but then kite him and then focus everybody else. He's clearly using all of your spells to kill the Wraith King twice. That's not going to cut it.
We'll see now, they might have to do it 3 times.
Radiant took down Roshan.
Yep, yeah, they will. It's looking like it. Going for the BKB too, because there's so much kiting, or there's so much like anti-kiting and that Tickles has. Like, they've tons of stuns, slows, whatever. Like, Wraith King can get his hits off. Also, they can just siege right now on Team Tickles, so I like the idea of going for the BKB. Is CoolGuys really gonna...
They're gonna try to smoke into the stages.
I mean, this is a pretty cool read if they're right if they think Wraith King's alone.
I mean, and
okay,
this is if they could catch him, then
Radiant's bottom tower
did they see him?
problems.
It's 3 times they have to kill him. They're looking for a backline. Dude, he's alone. Oh, they're wrapping.
They're gonna go. Right, 3 times. Can they do it? Oh, well, at least the 2 times before the rest of the team and Team Tickles can get there. That's once. Already the backup's inbound. They've turned up. And they could only do it the once here before they start losing heroes left, right, and centre. Phonic and DNC taken down. They're also going to get more. So, I mean, put the BKB. They're going to use the Eclipse as well and attempt to turn this around, but the BKB's up from Boom Roars there. Crit comes into play, as that'll be Thug down and out. Tips coming out the way of Thug as well. They're going to tap out. They
They're done, yeah.
I mean, they've seen this story before. They saw it last game. Team Tickles just get this game to a point where it's fully in their control. And even though the farm and they're not that far behind in items on CoolGuys, it's far enough that they know that Team Tickles are just going to be able to continue to run them over like they did from the mid-game onwards in game 1.
Just Team Tickles in every game that I've seen them so far, other than the tri-laning situation was a little bit weird. I mean, I respect
Nobody's down there.
the cojones to go do that, because nobody does these aggro tries these days. Team Tickles has looked like a really solid